This morning we're going to talk about GameStop. GameStop have been on the news lately quite a bit. We also have been doing with hearing a lot about Robinhood, Ameritrade, Reddit, and a lot of complaints about that they cannot get a trade. They're being restricted, and there's a big, it's a concern for me, for the other traders, but it also, I would like to explain why you're encountering this kind of situation. They have a lot to do with who you trade with, how much money they have on reserve, and how much the clearinghouse require for them to have available during the floating of the stock, that it takes 2 days to transfer the money to one to the other, from buyers to sellers, and make sure that the sellers get their money and make sure that the buyer get the stock that they bought at the right price. And this kind of thing kind of create a lot of action that maybe many of them are not prepared for. There's small brokers and there are large brokers. I know that my broker have over $5 billion in reserve for this kind of activity or more, I'm not aware, but I know they got at least more than $5 billion. Others, find themselves that they have to borrow money. I know that Robinhood, last Friday, they got with 2 or 3 banks to make a deal to come out with $1 billion to make up those margin calls that they're getting. If you get margin call, brokers also can get margin call from the clearinghouse. So with that, what I would like to do is to we took a snapshot, a picture of GameStop, and put it in perspective in the amount of stocks that is available, that the company really have outstanding, the amount of the stock that it was in the hands of the institution, and how much it was sold. And there are a lot of numbers there that do not match, and there's a reason for it. I don't blame anybody for this or accusing anybody of any wrongdoing, so let me make that clear. But at least let me explain it the way I see it and why it's happened. I had this experience before myself. I've been doing this for 48 years, so I've seen quite a bit of it. But younger generation haven't seen this before, but this is the time that we have to live with it. We really don't like the government to get involved and put more restriction than what we already have. $25,000 reserve if you do the more than 3 trades and so on. So with that, let's go and let me give you my opinion and my explanation about GameStop Fiasco last week. Thank you.
Puts you comfortably in control.
Okay, here we are this morning, and now let's look at this, as I mentioned before, about GameStop. So GameStop, as of Friday, closed at $313 a share, and the volume was like a 50 million, and open was 379. Now what I would like to show you here is this part. During the 52 weeks, this stock been between $2.57 and the high of 483 right here. It's a very interesting number because it's obvious that there's a lot of buyers and most of that money coming from the last couple of weeks. Another thing here is that the year net change is being over 1,600%, and the year net change over here for the entire year to date and year for a year, it have been 8,000%. Now this is what really happened, and this is not over yet. Okay, I'm going to go over here and show you that a lot of retirement accounts are going to be in trouble. Okay, a lot of these brokers already have reported at this morning, Monday morning, February the 1st, that 50% losses, okay? So I don't blame anybody for this. However, these hedge funds, they thought that they play a game for many years, and get away with it, and they never expected to have a group of people, common people like they call it, plain traders, that it could pull this stunt on them. And now from here on, they're going to have to think about it next time they start shorting a stock, because there's a lot of smart people out there that never had the ability, and they have to get together. There's power in numbers. Always remember that. There is power in numbers. If we get together to do something, we can accomplish great things. Everybody can make money. However, they didn't like it because they got caught with their hands on the cookie jar. They've been doing this for a long time and bringing all this money in and having a good life. And now when the little guys start having a good life, that's kind of makes problems, and they respect it. But the whole thing here is that I see a lot of noise about the broker didn't let me trade, the broker this, the broker that. So what I'm going to explain is the mechanics that goes behind the scenes that most traders don't know about it. I could care less as long as they get their money. And they get very upset when they don't let you make some money, and I don't blame them too. So it makes sure that we deal with the right broker when we do this, that they have enough reserve, so then they'll be able to handle it. But here's what happened. As the key data comes in, the corporation only has 69 million shares, 69.775, 69 million shares. So here's the problem, right? If they have 69 million shares, I would like to know how we got a short interest of 61 million, right? And then they tell me, right, that the institution have 120% ownership. 120. Well, that's more than 70 million. You got 120%. So where the shares come from? And it can happen for many reasons. It happened that in the institution got over 120,000. How many shares being traded, right? Beside the regular retail customer. It must be much larger than that. But here what happened. This could happen because many of the trade had not been settled, exceed 100%, because their holding might be from short selling and between investors that is floating around and stuff like that. It creates this all kind of activity. But as of Friday, right, the short interest was still 90%, right? As of Friday, the short interest, so there's still 90% of the stock is still being shorted, right? As of Friday, short shares are almost 90%. So they say here, 61% shares of 115 as of January 15, which is about 15 days ago, there was a 90% shortage in there. That probably number is already gone, and the short interest is still negative 13%. The percentage floating of a stock is 121%, right here at this lower end here in the red circle, 121%. Well, at one point the short shares were more than the actual standing share. And this is my question, We got more activity there, and it probably could be because they haven't been settled. The settlement is the problem here. You take, for example, people like Ameritrade and stuff like that. They say they're protecting their customers, they're doing this, they're doing that, and they probably do. I don't say that they're done. But people like Ameritrade and Robinhood can find themselves in a problem if they don't have enough cash reserve. And this is where the little guy get upset. Robinhood Friday morning, they make an arrangement with few banks to come up with $1 billion. That $1 billion is for the purpose of having enough cash reserve that is required by the clearinghouse. The clearinghouse want to make sure that you get the money, you as the buyer, and you as the seller, that the money is there for you. And of course, they charge for that too. So they are the bookkeeper of the business. And there's several clearinghouses, not one, so I don't want to mention no names, because the regulation is all the same. If you got this much activity, you have to have the cash. Well, some brokers don't have, they have a lot of customers like Robinhood, and as the name implies, we take from the rich and give to the poor. It's just that simple. It so happened that they have so many followers and so many accounts that where everybody concentrated in the heavy amount of share for this stock to GameStop, they didn't have enough reserve to cover that. So therefore, in order to comply with the law, they have to turn around and slow down and tell, no, you cannot buy. Yes, you can sell. As you sell, they can clear some of that backlog of money. Then the clearinghouse come around and say, okay, well, with that much activity, we need more money than the percentage that you normally have. They're ensuring that everybody get paid. So if they don't have it, they cannot do the trade. Both people get hurt. You as a customer, the broker get hurt because he cannot make his money on the spread, and the clearinghouse want to make sure that everybody gets what they're supposed to get. And this is what the problem have been, and it's probably going to continue because a lot of the brokers are limiting in certain stocks how many shares you can buy or how many shares you can short, and they don't want to go and borrow more money. Now the Congress getting involved. Every time the government get involved in a regular business, always something happens, right? And it's probably going to benefit those that pay more for the election than you and I that didn't contribute anything. So they're not going to listen to us. They're more likely going to listen to those that finance their public campaign, political campaign. And maybe these comments like this, is I put it on Facebook, Facebook say, you cannot do that, and they take me out of it, but the truth is the truth. We all know that large corporations, large broker house contribute to political campaign in millions and millions of dollars, something that you and I cannot do, and therefore the scale probably will tilt in their favor. Nothing new about that. I've been through it many times. But with this, I just wanted to make clear, that you all at least understand or try to understand why the brokers, not just Robinhood, but Ameritrade and other ones are telling you cannot buy this, you cannot buy so many, and limit it because they need to raise the capital. So the signal is they didn't have the capital to meet the requirements from the clearinghouse. And in this case, the clearinghouse want to make sure that you get paid if you bought from me, and I want to make sure I get my money when you bought it from me, and they're the middle guys in the deal, in the transaction. It normally takes about 2 days to do that, all this transaction. So eventually, if we are slowing down or something slow down, and be able to make it. So with that, that's my opinion, and hopefully that you all understand how the system works and the consequences, and I hope that you all make a lot of money. I've been following through, and I cannot complain. I have made my shares too, so it's a good deal, and it's about time that the little guy have a chance to get ahead. So with that, thank you very much. My name is Roy Idrak, and I see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.